Madam Web is coming. It is now officially 8 days away. 1 week from tomorrow. A cinematic event of a lifetime happens as Madam Web opens up in theaters. Now, despite some initial interest that, I mean, look, I was like everybody else. When they announced Madam Web, I was like, who? I mean, why? Why are you doing a Madam Web? Who's asking for a Madam Web movie? But all right, yeah, try something different. Okay, that's fine. So, I love Venom, so give it a shot, whatever. And then the premise got announced a long time ago. And the premise, to me, kind of changed my tune on it. The premise came out and I was like, this kind of sounds interesting. It's a little bit of Terminator with a little bit of Spider-Man, with a little bit of, something else in there. I thought, you know what? This premise could be really good. I really do like Dakota Johnson. I think she's a terrific actress. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'm on board. Let's see how this turns out. And then the first trailer came out. And the first trailer was concerning. Because not that a trailer has ever been a good indicator about whether a movie is going to be good or not, but the trailer was concerning in the fact that all the lines said in the trailer was some of the most wooden spoken lines that I've heard in a long time. He was with my mother, who was researching spiders in the jungle. Okay. It became a little bit concerning. Then, we were reminded of the fact that this is a movie that's written by Matt Sazma and Burke Sharpless, who, in case we forgot, wrote such hit movies as Morbius and Gods of Egypt and The Last Witch Hunter and Dracula Untold, to which we all went, how do these people still have work? How do they still have jobs? And now, granted, they also wrote Lost in Space, which is pretty good. I didn't think it was great, but I thought the Netflix Lost in Space series was pretty good, so I'll give them that. Well, now, forget it. Because Sony has just told the world that they don't believe in this movie. And you know what I always say? Hey, studio, if you don't believe in your movie, why should I? This comes to us from the director who wrote the following. The review embargo for Sony Pictures' upcoming Madam Web will lift at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, February 13th. For those of you keeping score, that's the day before the movie comes out. This means the first reviews of the movie will only be released as early as the day before the movie's theatrical debut on Wednesday, February 14th. Though not necessarily the case, an embargo lift so close to a movie's release can indicate a lack of confidence. Well, I've been telling you guys that for almost a decade. A confidence in a project from studios, possibly since there's less time for negative reviews to circulate before the public release. Okay, look. This to me is the death nail. This to me is it. This is Sony themselves saying, we have no faith in this movie. Listen, we are still we are 1 week away from the movie. There's just only been one official trailer. Been a couple of TV spots that have been like remixes of the trailer and everything. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, you got 3 major trailers will come out for film. They've only sat on one. That basically tells me they couldn't find anything in the movie to even make it look good. Because they tried with the
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl is
next weekend?
This coming week, yeah.
Oh, this coming weekend?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll drop one more trailer?
Yeah, like 2 days. Maybe.
Spend all that money? Oh, no way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Sony, I mean, that's the thing. Sony clearly has zero belief in this film.
All right, you're right.
And listen, over the years, like I said, I've been trying to tell people for like a decade, when this happens, it is a massive red flag. And almost every time with every movie that's happened with, I inevitably hear from a lot of fans, no, John, you just don't understand. They're trying to keep the secrets. They're trying to keep the surprises hidden. That's why they hold the review embargo. And while that has been true once or twice in history,
Secrets out.
99% of the time, it's like, no, turns out they just didn't want the reviews to get out because the movie's bad.
Did they do that for No Way Home? Do we remember if the reviews?
The first reactions for No Way Home came out like a good week before or more before that movie came out.
You know, there's certain types of movies where you see the trailer and you're like, I want to go see how horrible this is. Like, does that sound weird? Like to want to go see a movie knowing it's horrible just to see how horrible it is? Like, dude, where's my car? I knew that movie's gonna be horrible. I went to the theaters and watched it, and it was. So it's like this one I want to go see, but for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean?
It's like wanting to go watch a car crash.
Yeah. But you know what? It's Spider-Man. It revolves around that universe. I'm gonna see it because I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's in my top.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go see it too. I'm still gonna go see it. Look, when it comes to the Sonyverse, here's the thing. Obviously, I still contend 100% that Sony alone has made the 2 best Spider-Man movies ever, with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and, let me rephrase. They've made the 3 best Spider-Man movies ever. They made Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, and then the animated Into the Spider-Verse and the animated Across the Spider-Verse. No Marvel Spider-Man movie has been as good as those 3. Sony has exclusively made the best Spider-Man movies. That being said, while I really liked Venom a lot, I had a ball with that movie. And I enjoyed the second one. It was a step down, but I enjoyed. Morbius was the type of bad that if you were watching a TV show about movie actors and one of them just made a real stinker, it would have been Morbius. Like, it was terrible and it was bad. And I have to wonder at this point, because there's a lot of things Sony does that I really like. I'm a Sony fan. I am. But I have to ask the question, what are you doing? Because you went into this movie. First of all, you decided to make a Madam Web movie. Okay. Hopefully you got some killer idea, whatever. But you went into this movie knowing that you hired the writers of Morbius, which sucked, and it was your movie, the writers of Gods of Egypt, the writers of and I love me Vin Diesel, but Vin Diesel's The Last Witch Hunter, which was terrible.
Oh, I forgot.
And Dracula Untold.
Maybe they're tax loss harvesting.
Well, you remember the Nathan Lane, The Producers?
Yeah.
Where these 2 guys purposefully try to make a musical that completely bombs.
Right.
Is this Sony intentionally trying to make a bomb? Like, you got to know going into it, you hire possibly the worst writers you possibly could hire for a comic book film with the track record they have. Then you put out a real wooden trailer. Then you don't put out any more trailers. And then you're holding the review embargo until the day before the movie comes out. What are you doing? I have to ask Sony, what's your plan? Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, DraftKings. DraftKings, the leader in fantasy sports, just dropped a brand new app, Pick 6. Pick 6 is the newest way for you to get in on the fantasy football action with DraftKings. New customers can make their first NFL picks and get up to $100 in Pick 6 credits if those picks lose. All you got to do is pick between 2 and 6 NFL players and choose if they're going to have more or less of that stat. For example, will a player have more or less than 100 rushing yards, or will a player have more or less than 1 touchdown? Track your lineup and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up with the code Campea. New customers can get up to $100 back in Pick 6 credits if your first football pick set loses. That's code Campea only on DraftKings Pick 6. One offer per new customer. First qualifying pick set winnings less entry fees must generate negative number. Max reward up to $100 equal to amount of negative number. Issued in non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits. Valid for Pick 6 use only. Expire after 1 year. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. Pick 6 not available in all states, including but not limited to Connecticut and New York. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms and pick6.draftkings.com. Because I want to have optimism for Kraven the Hunter. I want to have optimism for Venom 3. I want to have optimism for whatever else they've got coming. I want to have optimism. But I'm sitting here looking at this, and to put it into sports terminology, it's like a basketball team goes out and recruits their 5 starters who all retired in the 90s, and they don't even give them a real basketball court to play on. Like, I have to look at Sony right now and say, are you even trying? Now, I will usually fire back at my other fellow fans who will say, oh, this studio isn't even trying. And I'm like, listen, everybody's always trying to do their best, but it's hard to make a good movie, right? It's almost impossible to make a good movie. Everybody starts out making a movie thinking you're already writing your Oscar acceptance speech in your head. Okay, everybody does. And so I'll often fire back. But in this case, I have to look at this and I have to legitimately ask the executives of Sony, are you even trying? What's the plan here? Because this is a joke. This is I haven't even seen the movie yet. But it's become clear to me Sony doesn't like it. They're not putting any money behind it. They're not putting any marketing into it. They're not even letting the reviews come out. And they're hiring the cheapest bottom of the barrel writers they possibly can. What's the plan? Mm-hmm. I can look at DC, right? And even though the DCEU had its struggles, they swung for the fences, right? They may have tripped. They may have fallen on their faces. But they always tried. Even when they made something bad, they were trying. Some people don't like Flash. That's fine. I thought Flash was an ambitious, swinging for the fences kind of movie. I didn't like The Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. But you know what? I can look at that movie, and even though I don't like it, I can say they really were going for it. Like they were trying, right? Even in Marvel's bad movies, like I look at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right? I can look at that movie, and I can say, man, there's so much wrong with this movie. But you could see they were swinging for it. I mean, they were trying. Mm-hmm. I am looking right now at Sony outside of their animated stuff because they're killing it with Spider-Verse. They're absolutely killing it with their Spider-Verse stuff. 100% they are. But outside of Tom Hardy, what are you doing? I don't even see you trying. Yeah. And if you say you're trying, you're fucking incompetent. Then that's just the bottom line. You're fucking incompetent. And now I've gone from a place of being maybe naively, hopefully optimistic about Kraven the Hunter and whatever else they've got coming down. El Muerto, if that actually even, I guarantee you that movie's not going to happen. And I've gone from that place to a place of, are you just doing this for a tax write-off? Like, what's happening here?
I believe, first of all, Sony is just going through the Spider-Man library and just seeing all the characters and just putting out movies for all of them. But it's all to the point of, I've always said since Morbius that it looks like Sony wants to get that Avengers Endgame where they get all the characters together.
That's never going to happen.
And they're concentrating on that and not doing what Marvel did and concentrate on the solo movies, making them quality so people care about that last movie where it all comes together.
Or
it feels like they're rushing these.
Or it's like, well, we own the rights to the Spider-Verse. Let's milk this. You know, let's take advantage of this. We have a mandate to use these characters that we own because we're not selling it back to Marvel. And the mandate is just get these films out and do it. And it's just
I would even understand that. But if you want to just milk it, you're going to get a lot more milk if you make good movies.
Yep.
You're going to make more money if you make good movies. And listen, Marvel started off with Iron Man just building towards the Avengers, but they put the time, care, and attention. They went out and got Jon Favreau. They went out and got an Academy Award nominated actor who was on his way back up with Robert Downey Jr. They put a lot of care and attention into that movie. And even though they were just they ended it with Nick Fury, we're doing the Avengers Initiative. I mean, they were clearly just trying to build up to the Avengers, but they put love, care, and attention and detail into the individual movies. I sit back now and I look at this now, and I try to be optimistic. Like when we first realized that it was the guys who wrote Gods of Egypt, Last Witch Hunter, Dracula Untold, and Morbius, I try to be optimistic about, okay, well, maybe this time they came up with a killer thing. Sony clearly doesn't think so. So now I'm sitting back and looking, you went out and got the absolute bottom of the barrel writers that you could, that have already failed spectacularly in your own cinematic universe with Morbius. We've seen nothing to suggest that we're going to get anything different. And I feel bad. Like, I'm sure the guys who wrote this stuff, like, I'm sure Matt and his writing partner, I'm sure they're probably really nice guys, and I feel bad trashing on somebody's work. But the reality is, if you're Sony and you're coming out of this, okay, best meals come from the best ingredients. What are we going to start with? Let's start with the guys who wrote Morbius. You're fucking not trying. You're not trying. You are not trying to put out the best product that you can. So if you're just saying it's a money grab, You're going to get a fuck lot more money if you put more care into it. If you want to build up to your own Avengers, fine. Marvel did that too, but you're going to get there if you make good individual movies, and you don't make good individual movies if you start with the building blocks of bottom of the barrel. So, like, what are we doing?
Venom was a great starting point.
It
though.
was.
That first
It could have been.
That was like their Iron Man right there, and they had it right there. Just it seems like they're not going to get any more trust from the audience if they keep releasing these things. If Kraven is bad, it's going to be like, who cares about this last thing?
And at this point, now that I've seen Sony's even given up on this Madam Web movie, I've lost my hope in Kraven. And I have been naively, optimistically hopeful for Kraven. Have I not?
Yeah.
Have I not been hopeful for Kraven?
It's been a little much.
I mean, some people think too much.
A little,
But that's gone now.
A little extra right there.
That's gone. That naive optimism is now gone. I have no reason to believe in any of this shit because clearly Sony doesn't believe in it. And they're not even trying. DC tried.
Yep.
Love or hate Marvel, they tried.
Well, they put the budget in.
These guys aren't even trying.
So they put a character that no one cared about,
With writers nobody cared about.
and in a movie that's going to end up being terrible. You're destroying all the properties you have.
You are here's the problem that some studios don't seem to grasp. You're not only wrecking this movie, you are wrecking the potential for any movies you try to do later in this universe.
Exactly.
Right? People do not look at these films anymore as isolated events. You put out a great movie, you get people excited about what you have next. You put out a piece of garbage, you make people lose faith in what you have coming out next. Yeah. It's all connected. And again, for a studio that does a lot right in other areas of their business, what they're doing here with Madam Web, seriously, this movie right now is proving what David Zaslav did was right when he killed the Batgirl movie. That's exactly what Sony just should have done with this Madam. The moment they realize that this movie was crap, because clearly they think it's crap because they're not lifting the review embargo to the day before. The moment Sony realized this movie was crap, they simply should have axed it. Because they might be saving their future movies.
Right. And the climate is kind of changing. It's a scary time to have a franchise right now because one bad movie, the audience could turn their back on you right away.
Oh, but they have.
Before, remember Iron Man 2 wasn't as good as Iron Man 1, whatever. People still want to go see Iron Man 3. It feels like that wouldn't happen right now. People would completely ditch Iron Man 3.
Even Iron Man 2 was no Morbius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
As bad as Thor 2 was or whatever, none of them were Morbius.
The fact that I can go back and watch Thor 2 and be like, oh, you know what? This is actually better than I remember. Like there's things that it involves the what do you call it? Infinity Saga a little more than I realized the first time I saw it. But you're not going to get that from Morbius.
And let's talk about Morbius for a second. Even Morbius, right? Every studio will put out a movie that falls on its face, right? Every studio does. It happens. Okay, so you lick your wounds, you learn your lessons, and you move forward. Sony moved forward by just bringing back the same writers who wrote that piece of garbage. I'm sitting here trying to let that sink in. I wish I was a fly on the wall in the executive offices of Sony when they were discussing, hey, okay, got an idea. Okay, let's do Madam Web. Actually, that's a really obscure character. That could be kind of cool. Worked for Marvel when they pulled the Guardians of the Galaxy out. Maybe that would be kind of cool. Okay, yeah, but listen, here's what I got, Bob. You know our Morbius movie? Oh, don't remind me, dude. We just took a bath on that. We got hammered. Oh, yeah, I know. But what about bringing back the writers from that to do this next one? I want to hear that conversation. How did that unfold?
They're free.
Do the writers have pictures of the president
free.
sleeping with the CEO's wife? Is that how this happened?
They're free.
I don't know.
Yeah, they might be free.
Or they're just free.
Discounted.
We'll do it for the parking spaces and lunch.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
No.
It's at any rate.
Well, we're still going to see it. We'll have our review.
Listen, I'm still going to go see it. But I'm just saying, like, and you might be asking yourself, well, like, John, why are you so adamant about this when you haven't seen the movie yet? Sony's seen it, and they just told me they didn't like it by not lifting the review embargo until the day
Let me see
before.
how long this movie is, too.
It's long and probably long enough.
Yeah.
Probably. But you don't even have the confidence to put out a second trailer.
No.
You're like, you know what? Let's just cut bait.
I've been wanting to see it because I want to know what that Spider-Man suited Spider-Man is all about. What that thing is doing in the trailer, and I have no.
Listen,
sense.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. I'm sure none of you are surprised by this, but what do you think about Sony not letting people even reveal their reviews of this movie until 24 hours before the movie even comes out? You clearly know how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.